This one's been plaguing me for a long time because I wasn't sure if I did a video on this or not. It turns out I didn't. I actually thought half of my videos were gone because I just couldn't find them. But I just discovered recently that everything is still there, so it turns out I hadn't made a video on this. Anyway, this is the Aurthur Wright's Sheepsfoot or the Lamb's Foot. I don't know if there's much of a difference. I think the proper name for this is the Lamb's Foot, but for whatever reason, all these years, I've been calling it the Sheepsfoot. Whatever, I don't suppose it matters much. You've seen this one a lot on my channel. I reference it a lot. I use it side by side with other knives because I carry it so much. I can't believe I've not actually made a video on it. I think what's happened there is I've went to make a video on it many times and then I kept screwing up and getting annoyed with it, and I just sort of said, ah, the hell with this, I'll do it later, and then I never did it later. So let's do it right this time. So of course this is a UK legal carry, as the cutting edge is less than 3 inches and it doesn't lock. Obviously it's a traditional knife and it's made by hand in Sheffield, England. So let's have a look at the knife. It has this really nice blue jigged bone, which you may or may not like that. It's not perfect, it's not the best in the world, in fact it's quite a budget knife. The fit and finish isn't great, but this would make a great work knife, and it's my primary EDC knife, so it's probably a lot more scratched up than when I first got it. I tend to keep my knife away from whatever else is in my pockets, usually, although that said, more recently I've just sort of been throwing it in with my keys because it's starting to get on my nerves a bit, keeping everything separate, and I seem to be losing my patience a little bit with that. Anyway, fit and finish, you can see, isn't perfect. That pin there isn't bad, brass pins by the way. These two are just mushroomed, same on the other side. But the blue jig bone is quite nice. It's nice and deep in some places, where in others you can see the bone poking, the white bone poking through, which is nice. I'm not sure if it came like that or if I did that. I say that because I was using case paste metal polish to clean the whole thing up. It's meant for the blade, but obviously you can clean up the nickel silver bolsters, the brass, that sort of thing. And I think I accidentally rubbed a bit off, but I guess that just gives it a bit more character. And obviously, being bone that's dyed, each one is unique. So as I said there, we do have some nice nickel silver bolsters with a bit of a pinch at the top, which is nice. You could see the pin there, which I don't think you're really supposed to, so that's a bit of a defect. Not that it really matters, it's only an aesthetic thing, and the knife does still look quite nice. And for what you pay for it, I don't think you can complain too much. I think it's a nice size knife for my hand. If I just open up the knife, you can see that nice sheepsfoot blade. Now, I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this knife pretty much for the first 2 or 3 years I had it, because I could never just get it to work for me. This is a knife that I learned to sharpen on. I spent a long time trying to learn how to sharpen on this knife. Kept failing, but obviously I kept trying and I could finally sharpen a knife now. It's got okay sharpness on it. I don't really sharpen it too often because it seems to lose an edge quite quickly, I find. But it's got a really nice all-around blade, that sheep's foot, lamb's foot, whatever you want to call it. We do have a slight swedge there, or false edge. I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is. I suppose it's just aesthetic. But this would be a great little knife for cutting your apple, which is one of my uses for it. In fact, one time when I cut an apple with it, I put the knife down and just left it for a couple of minutes, and I couldn't believe how tarnished it was when I picked it back up. So I just used that case paste metal polish to bring that shine back, because I do quite like it. It would also be great for opening things like your letters, as well as wood whittling. I was getting a bit muddled up there. A little bit of whittling, that sort of thing. That's really what this sort of knife is designed for. It's just your old-fashioned gentleman's everyday pocket knife, or a work knife, or whatever you want to call it. You can see that there is some defects. It's not perfect. The materials are nice though, the bone, the brass, the nickel silver. It does look nice, but defects. Just purely aesthetic. Functionally, it's absolutely fine. If we have a look there at the tank stamp, A. Wright and Son Ltd, Sheffield, England. and nothing on the other side. And we do have a half stop, as well as a bit of a kick there, which I think they could have done a bit of a better job. That's a bit of a sight, a bit of a bad sight there, especially since it's just sort of being ground flat and just sort of forgotten about. That's not so great. We've got a bit of a choil there as well. Yeah, I found it a real pain in the ass to sharpen this knife. I think with everyone else it's been the exact opposite. Most people have found this easy to sharpen. I haven't. I don't know why, because it's not like it's particularly hard steel. I believe it is only C70, which, not a hard steel, it should be easy to sharpen. I'll just quickly do some comparisons for you of this knife. So I'll have to put it against a Swiss Army knife, as I always would. So here is the Victorinox Electrician and a SOG Terminus. By the way, the Electrician is the same size as the Pioneer in terms of length, as well as the Farmer, just so you get a better idea of the size of this thing. And if we open up the blades, again to give you an idea of the size, I don't think it's too meaningful to specify the exact size right down to the last millimetre. I don't feel like that does very much, but it is less than 3 inches on the cutting edge. It's about 2.5 inches actually. So a good legal size where you won't. Is that magnetic? What's going on there? There does seem to be some sort of magnetism going on. That's strange. Anyway, I've not had those near magnets, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so this traditional knife is one that shouldn't make people too upset. If you had to use it, say in an office or while you're out and about having, I don't know, your lunch in the park or something. Certain places I still just wouldn't use it, such as a pub. You're just asking for trouble. Same with any other knife. But I think it makes a great all-round EDC knife, as well as a nice work knife. This is one of those knives that I gravitate to a lot, and I'll just compare it to a couple of other Sheffield knives. In fact, here is the Ittrick by Aurthur Wright. Same quality control issues, so it seems, but I'll just open that up to give you an idea of the size. This one's in Stag, and here is the, I forgot the name of this one, but it's a pruning knife. Aurthur Wright pruning knife in rosewood, which the quality on this is actually a little bit better. It doesn't have nowhere near as many problems. It does have some gaps there, etc., but it's not as bad. I was told by Slick Slicer that he thinks the quality of these has actually improved, and I think he might be right. This is the first one I got, as I said, 7 years ago when I first started getting into knives. I think I got this one maybe 3 years ago, and it's not quite as bad as this one, and this is my most recent one. I got this last summer, so yeah, I think maybe they are getting a bit better. On that note, if you're into these Sheffield made knives, to be fair, the best place to go is Slick Slicer's channel if you haven't already. He's got loads of these. He's far more knowledgeable on the Sheffield knives than I am. So if that's something that takes your particular interest, you might want to go over there and have a look at his videos. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say for mine. Let's just have a wee think just to make sure. Nope, I think that's everything. So thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. And hopefully, since I seem to have forgotten to make videos on a bunch of knives, I should have more knives to make videos on, because I was thinking of running out. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Consider subscribing, liking the video and all that, and I'll see you later. Cheers.